How's it in the name of Christ? What's up? Okay. Karabo. I think that's clear. I hope you're good. I hope you're peachy. I hope you're Stella. And I hope you're in a neat little bunch. If you're not... okay. Yeah, that's all I gotta say, because everybody treating me like so I guess right back at you. Where is my mouse? You know, I'm so tired. I'm exhausted. What's up? Let's put some caveats out there. Oh wow. Oh, I have a brain freeze. My captions, they're not always accurate, so just kind of look out for that. I'm not taking them out, we're keeping them, because that's just this life that we live. We keep everything. Anyway, what else? App makeup. Oh, that was hard. Application makeup. No, I'm not wearing it. I'm not. Hi, Suga. Why do I have so much going on the TV, on the screen over there? Inside CapCut. Anyway, whatever, you don't need to know what's going on. I just wanted to put it out there that, no, I'm not wearing app makeup. What, we're done. Yes, like it. No, let's just get straight into the message, okay? Those of you... oh, yes, wow, like, ooh, what's happening? You know, sometimes, oh, man. Demonic attack, demonic abuse. You know what? All the best, ne? Let's just put that out there. Tambo santing. All of this stuff with your tambo santing. Keep it. No, actually, no. Do your good. So, guys. We're taking. Oh, okay, like you're gonna be for right? Lo for. We're taking. Furi. Furi. Anyway, what's up? So, I'm under a lot of attack, and I'm just like. No, dwee. No, dwee, of course, like dwee, you know, it's all they can do, just attack and just feel like dwee, no dwee, yeah, no dwee, y'all, you know what, guys, baba tla go ntsha dipesi. Okay, you know what, let's talk. No, let's not talk. Ooh wee. Oh, just a minute. Anyway, whatever. Disrespect my LinkedIn. Can we please just speak English? Like, let's just do that. Okay, listen up. You know what? Disrespect. Cease and desist, okay? No dwee, you're gonna carry on with attack. But no dwee, I'm gonna come back with a counter attack. No dwee, like a flying kick. Yeah. Beat that. Yeah. Beat that. Beat a flying kick. A beat a flying kick. Yeah, because that's what I come back with all the time. Okay? The we. Okay, guys, you know what? All of these attacks. That's what they sound like when they come at ya. They always squeal. Like they literally give you an auditory warning. They always come with an auditory warning, and the sound is just so squeaky, like it's just so nasty, and I can't help but miss it. But notice it, sorry, and then like, you know, boom. Hey, ooh, pancake, ooh. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just saying, like, I'm under attack and the sounds in the background are just like it's hard to ignore that. It's hard. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry. They just, yeah, you know, I've got this funny sound whenever a demonic attack is coming to me. Like, it's like I'm just like sitting, you know, like I'm just sitting, like yeah. Maybe even I'm lying down, I'm trying to sleep, and then next thing. I'm sorry. You know what? We need to be more serious in life, because this is a very serious matter. It's a serious matter, and there's like no time for jokes. It's so serious. Like, wow, there's even a helicopter coming to the rescue. Like, it's serious, guys. It's serious like a heart attack. So please don't play games. Don't play. No, don't play. Don't you dare. Because if you don't just sit around all sad and serious and just like really thoughtful, it's gonna come at you guys. Like, I'm under attack. And I should be serious, you know? Because if I'm not serious, like, I'm in danger. I'm in danger. I'm in danger. I'm in danger, guys. Danger. So you know, it's very important to be scared. Because if you're not scared, girl, you ain't doing it right. Like, you just ain't. You ain't doing it right. You gotta be scared or you're not gonna survive, you know? You're not gonna get out of this alive. Like, yeah, it's just gonna, woo, like a flying cake. It's real serious. Nah, but for real, I'm under attack, y'all. And the funny side's like, it slapped me this morning. Came with a squeal and a screech. So now I gotta talk about it. But the base, and I'm just like, yo, guys, when they wanna drop you, like, they wanna drop. Kadi base, but drop. Got like keep kicking. You sing like keep packet, baby talk. Ka like his star, so drop. I wanna know don't drop a kadi base. Mudimo le drop a like his star. You will remember. Fantuka, the days of Uksogol, Uksutler, Azumtomyam. You will remember Shem. Along Trappa, Luna Trapwa. Anyway, let's just get straight into this, right? I apologize. I took like 12 minutes just describing how a demonic attack comes at me. And I come back at it with a flying kick, and this is my flying kick. You want to make me cover your lives, and you're freaking me out to the edge of my seat. Is that it? Because you know that's how you sound when you come into a room. Okay. I'm scared, I'll give you that. Like, that's also, I'm under attack, as usual. And I'm not feeling alright. Like, it's that basic. Like, I'm always under attack. Because, like, guys, yes, like it. Let me save this. Yesterday I lost content. Hey, okay, I was able to save. Yesterday I lost content, so today I'm just going to be saving every 10-12 minutes. So I don't experience what I experienced yesterday. Is that what we're doing, really, guys? You want to intimidate me with constant bombardment? Is that what we're doing? Such that every time it comes, it's like a squealing, rusty pipe that has not been maintained in years. It's like, that's your witchcraft. Okay, very well, cool. Rusty pipes, I guess that's what we deal with. They used to be nice and shiny in the beginning, but now it's just gotten so old, what you guys do. That is like rusty pipes that squeal when your witchcraft comes through. The transit train that it brings, it's like squealing, it's screeching, guys, like it bursts through the pipe and lands on my feet. It lands on my forehead, making it even bigger. Yeah, that's how your witchcraft lands on me these days. And I'm just like, yes, and I don't know. Like, this is my response to that. You want to make me envy you. When your witchcraft is that rusty to a point where when it slips in, it's like I'm like, it's making those noises. That's cheesy. I can't. It comes in squealing. It's like a rust. It comes with like a whole bunch of dust on the side. Like just gunk stuck on it because it's just been squeezed through an old pipe. You keep going back to the drawing board. Is that what we're doing? The exact same spells, can't it? Like over and over and over again? Alright, guys. Oh my god. That's your sorcery. Okay. Look, if your sorcery is gonna come in on a rusty pipe, then I guess just like a person that's been well trained on rusty pipes, I will repeat this again. I'm not a fan of repeating myself. In fact, I'm not even gonna repeat myself. Maybe I am. I don't know. Just tweak exactly what we were speaking about. I'm not getting old. I'm not gonna get old. I'm gonna get home. Like, that's what you're gunning for. You're gunning for the day when I'm gonna be nice and rusty myself, just like the pipes through which your demons, like, come into my ecosystem. Yeah, I'm not getting there. I'm not gonna get old. However, in the run-up to you trying to freak me out with age, because that's the thing, you're trying to freak me out with age. With a guga, with a geriatric womb, with iskati that's like tick-tock, 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 lollipop, lollipop, lolly, lolly, lolly. I apologize, guys. I don't have decorum. I blow my nose in front of people and stuff. Coupled with the fact that when I've been laughing, my nose gets runny. So somebody gotta clean that. Lollipop, lollipop, ooh, lolly, lolly, lolly. The same spells. Well, maybe the reason why you think they're effective, or they're gonna be effective, is because so many years have progressed, and I guess I'm not getting any younger. Chicken skin. Hey, I'm 39, and next year's like my 40th year. And we're almost into that next year, aren't we? It's like the 29th of December, look at that. You wanna scare me? Give me my hoodie, see? Ooh, shaky dakey. That's cranky, you wanna make me shake? That's what's up. Okay, I will admit, I do get a little nervous. Yeah, I really do. I get nervous until I get a vision of lucky starfish. And then I'm like, oh, I guess there's no need to be worried that I'm 39 with no children, no husband, going nowhere, doing nothing, no degree, no job, no career, no prospects, no future. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that does scare a person. Kind of stuff that really does freak a person out. Yes. That is the kind of stuff that freaks a person out. I shall not lie. I shall not sit over here and tell a fib and say that I'm not disillusioned and disquieted and sad and broken and all manner of anything bad that I can feel. Devastated. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I've never even dropped a single tear down my face over the fact that I wanted to be a mom and look at me be all dry in that area. Like, I'm not gonna lie and sit here and say that I wanted to be doted over by some responsible man and look at me be all single at almost 40. Like, I'm not gonna lie and say that I'm not bummed about the fact that I look like a matriculant at 39 when I wanted to be a PhD by now. Like, I will not lie. It's eating me alive. It's cutting me, you know how? It's cutting me. It's cutting me like, imagine putting a, indeed, I don't want a Lucky Star thing. Let's talk about Lucky Star, you know, that canned good for fish. Yes. Back in the day before we had these tin, oh no, never mind. In fact, you know, currently we've got these like tin openers that you put onto your thingamabobby and then you just kind of sit there. You can even have a conversation with a person while you are opening your tinned good, your canned good. Yeah, okay, yeah. But like, let's think about the tin openers, the can openers of back in the day, the ones that had that funny little like sharp sickly side, and then the other side was to open some beer. It was like a multi-purpose tool, and you had to first like really stab a can first, like stab a can, and then once you've prospered to get the hole in the can, and then you would have to pay attention. You can't look at other people lest you cut yourself, you know what I mean, until you get to the very end, and now you've got this like very dangerous, like you didn't even wait to like finish opening the whole can, just up until a certain point, and then you would lift it with like a spoon, or if you're feeling brave, with your finger. Remember how you used to open cans back in the day? Now imagine grabbing that thing that was opened with la pajualo. Yes. Yeah. And then just grabbing that and cutting yourself with it. By mistake or on purpose because you're suicidal or whatever. Yeah, whatever it is that all of that loss of life does to my heart is cut me as with can top that has been opened with an old school can opener. An old school can opener. Just butlapa, rough, just not sharp, not sharp, but like not neat sharp, right? Not like a blade, but like it's all rigid, rugged at the end, and so it hurts even more. Top of that, it's got rust on it, so it could poison the blood. Just kind of stab me that way with that multiple times, just kind of running through my body. That's how much it hurts. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say that I'm good. Don't look at me laughing, appearing to be throwing confetti on my head because I've got something you lack, otherwise known as the joy of the Lord, and think that I have no pain. Think that I do not cry. Think that I do not mourn not being able to have children. Think that I do not mourn my loneliness every single day, the losses, and exorbitant ones at that, I've endured over a decade. Do not imagine me, seeing as I'm so good at laughing at days to come, that I don't cry. I do. Let's just put that out there. I do. But then, when I'm in the middle of like, just an extremity of sorrow, just sobbing, you know, the kind where your snot comes down and you like have to wipe it with like a jersey and stuff because there's no tissue nearby, that kind. Yeah. Yeah, don't think I don't cry like that. I do. However, when I do, I've got this like wonderful spiritual gifting. That's what you must understand, where stuff just gets deposited, and it's not just my spiritual gift, but it is Christians at all. We hear a still small voice that tells us the contrary, the opposite, the rather reality, instead of whatever might be the mess we are immediately just looking at with squint eyes. The Lord, when your eyes are squint, He goes and then you shapen up. He goes and then you get out of that mode. Yeah, I get poured into understanding as to what's rather happening instead of what I'm seeing. And so because I've got that benefit of the doubt, like Elisha telling his servant, those who are with us are more numerous than those who are with them, I panic for like all of 5 seconds. And then I snap out of it. But I will give you this much. For the season when I'm panicking because of your rusty demonic attack, it feels like a millennia. Yeah, when I'm crying, it's like 10 whole years, 50 years, 10,000. And so I tend to pay attention to it a lot more than that one little fragment of hope that was awarded me that gave me peace eventually. Yeah. In Philippians 4 verse 6 to like 7, 'tis written, do not be anxious for anything, but in all things by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving make your supplications or your prayers known to God. And then this is like the operative term, the congratulatory term of the year, his peace, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. That's what happens when, despite the Lord telling you not to be anxious, you are anxious. He does for you anyway. Because it's written in God's word that he remains faithful when we are faithless, for he cannot deny himself. So even when we don't take that advice in Philippians 4 verse 6 to not be anxious, he still nonetheless is faithful enough to let you know that it's not that deep. Stop crying, it's not worth it. Because frankly, those who are with you are more numerous than those who are with them, and there's screeching, squealing, demonic attacks that come through as through a rusty pipe that's sounding like when it comes through. Like your father the devil, you appear to be acting like ancient spirits that keep on going back to the drawing board with nothing innovative, but the same stuff, because you imagine that because time is passing by, that a person might change their minds, given that I don't know. You're getting old, Karabo. Yeah, I mean, goodness, no, I won't deny it. Indeed, I am. No matter what interventions I might walk in, with topical creams and face massages and co, I will still age, because, that's just what human beings do ever since Adam and Eve fell, and I'm not exempt. But the Lord did not intend for me to age with no such glory in my life to show for my years. If he wasn't planning on vacuuming some people out of the earth and making sure that all of y'all now regret the living daylights out of trying to age a woman that's one day going to be like, oh, look at you, is that a fine line? Oh, and a wrinkle. Well, guess what? I have an incorruptible body. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm aging. But very soon, I'm not only gonna stop aging, but I will reverse it. And then I'll never do it ever again. But you're gonna keep doing it. And you're going to be thrown into this terrible time that's going to even expedite that aging. Because after all you'll have for food is Lucky Star. Yeah. Okay. So my sobbing and my sorrow and my panting and my pining and my moaning and my groaning is refreshed by the fact that while I'm in the middle of it and there's like a tear halfway down my cheek, I then hear the Holy Spirit saying, Lucky Star, Lucky Star. Remember that ad from back in the day? If you're from South Africa, you'll know. You know, okay? Don't act like you don't know. Come on. Yeah. Lucky Star. I have not seen such ads in a minute. You know why? Because they don't advertise that stuff anymore. At least not on certain types of television. Okay. Yeah. How can I put this out there? So let's save this before I lose it, because I'm so insecure. Y'all look at me and you think I'm lowly, out of whack and stuff, like, oh, Karabo, you're so poor. And I'm like, oh, I guess I am, aren't I? Yeah, except you're about to be reminded what lowliness is, you guys. So during this season of so much sorrow that I don't know whether I'm coming or going, yes, my mother decided to go and throw me Cosmo City, living in a neighborhood I never would have chosen for myself. Those of you that don't know what Cosmo City is or where Cosmo City is, I will describe it to you very briefly. So I live in the west of Johannesburg. 1 minute. What's up? I live in the west of Johannesburg. Rodipote. Otherwise, well, more in particular, go Wilgehevel. Don't get hasty. It's a very large area, so don't try and find me, okay? There are creeps online. Anyway, whatever. But I haven't always lived in this neighborhood. There was a time when I lived in Four Ways. And because I lived in Four Ways and my mother lived this side, for me to come see her and what have you, she used to stay at Reemsach at the time though, not Wilgehevel. I would have to cross through basically the middle of the west and the north. So the western suburbs of Johannesburg are not affluent. Well, portions of them aren't. There are affluent portions of every suburb. But there is one suburb in this city that is Johannesburg, that is all affluent, like pretty much all of it, is known as the bougie burbs, right? So there are, like I said, affluent parts of the West. Like when you go up there, go Maldusdrift and what have you, Pine Haven and what have you, it gets affluent, but it's pretty middle class. Most of Roodepoort, most of Wilgehevel, Waltervreden Park, blah blah, etc. And my mom lives in the regular middle class joint. That's what's up. However, where it is that I was staying when I had an apartment, it was an upmarket neighborhood in the north of Johannesburg, which most of it, if not all of it, is pretty affluent, unless you are in the gassies of the north, like Alexandra, or whatever. But I'm speaking here about suburbia, not the hood. All of suburbia of the north is affluent, however, not all suburbia of all other suburbs of Johannesburg are. So the northern suburbs of Joburg are basically just well known for hosting the wealthiest of the city, maybe even the country. Yeah, very well. On the run up, on the way to the north of Johannesburg, you gotta drive through the northwest. You gotta drive through amper affluence. So there's middle class, and then there's upper middle class, and then there's like wealthy. Alright, that's what's good. And the drive to go to the north of Johannesburg, it follows that trajectory. So as you go towards the north of Joburg, you will hit the beginning of the northern suburbs, which are upper middle class, like North Riding and all that jazz, North Cliff, Ballet, blah blah. There are some affluent areas in that joint, but they're largely upper middle class instead of just affluent. That's it. Yeah. However, there is this like oddball thing that happened, where it is that in an upper middle class neighborhood, they made a decision to just build a black neighborhood that is not upper middle class. Maybe you can call it middle class, but it's definitely lower middle class. It's a gassi, it's a hood, it's a ghetto, and stuff like that just easily gets done in South Africa, where you will build a ghetto right next to like Hard Knock suburbia. That's why South Africa is called the most unequal country in the world. It is because you can literally have next door neighbors and who one is filthy rich and the other is just barely scraping by. It happens all the time. I made mention of Alexandra. Get dra or da, it doesn't matter. I cannot dabba at this point about anything South Africa, okay? I'm just giving explanations here. Yeah, Alex is separated by nothing but a highway from the most affluent suburb in, suburb 2, but like metropolitan industrial complex basically in South Africa, never mind, Johannesburg. The most affluent neighborhood in South Africa is right next door to some pretty debilitated gassi, otherwise known as a ghetto. Yeah, South Africa does that. It's weird like that. It's like rain followed thundering storms followed very shortly afterwards by just this beautiful terrain, sun. We are speaking potholes in roads and gravel followed by, tar, just next door. That's my country, and it's run, unfortunately, by a black government that has just allowed that to happen, and the people that tend to inhabit these not so seemly neighborhoods are black, strangely, while we have like a black government. Anyway, whatever, I'm not about to get into the politics of that. I'm making another point, okay? Yeah, so that whole phenomenon with Alex and Sandton just being right next to each other, you can then trust that happens literally just about everywhere in South Africa. It's like developers in this land don't have tact. Developers in this land, like real estate people, did they even go to architecture school? Did they? I need to know. Anyway, whatever. Like, if you really want to, like, basically throw the market value of a particular neighborhood out of the window, you will risk a civil war right next door by creating hard knock substandard standards of living next door to some pretty opulent prominence in like a person that's literally like a good meter away from you. Stuff like that happens in this funny land. Yeah. And so we're like 2 seconds away from a most prolific civil war, but they don't really see that, do they? But by the time that comes, I'm not going to be here, so I guess it's all good in the hood. Hallelujah. Yeah. That whole architectural flaw, you would imagine, you would anticipate, that's what's good. Yeah. That they would make that silly little mistake perhaps like once, or maybe twice, or maybe like 3 times, but please not more than that. Okay? Yeah, you would think so about the silly country that is South Africa. But it just happens so commonly that it's like, but when are you ever gonna learn your lesson? Don't nobody understand what is going on with that. There's Alex, and then there's Santon, like I said. Well, they built like a whole ghetto right next door to like upmarket or upper middle class suburbia, and expect that black people who have been super impoverished and whose lives have been made really hard are then not going to, you know, just walk to where it is that they're going to burgle. Just walk to where it is that they're going to break into houses. Like, that's gonna happen. They're going to just walk right over the highway instead of disincentivizing them from, I guess, committing such crimes as those by creating a big enough distance between them and their victims. Like, I don't know what in the world is going on. So you put people in a great deal of poverty, and then afterwards you put them next door to people who are living in a great deal of opulence. I just feel as if though on that day you're creating a little bit of a rich man versus Lazarus, right? Scenario where black people are going to be eating scraps of bread from the floor of, well, basically suburbia that has all different kinds of South Africans in it, not just white people, and they're going to be eating the scraps from that floor. Okay, just like Lazarus eating the scraps of the rich man. But if Lazarus is not righteous, like the Lazarus in the Bible, he is going to ultimately get really vus. He's going to get very angry. He's going to become all uncomfy. Yeah, with his state, especially considering he's in such close proximity to this rich bugger. And then, you know, brew up a little bit of a uprising yana, whatever you want to call it. And then next thing, there has been a whole breaking past what you would imagine a fence, but it's kind of invisible. And then there is like a whole spike in crime in an affluent neighborhood. Yeah. Well, most people aren't righteous, y'all. The road that leads to life is narrow and few people find it, so not everybody's mature enough to just eat scraps from the rich man's bread, from the rich man's table. That's what you guys need to understand, right? Yeah, so we get crime. We get crime manufactured because South Africa made a decision to build rich people right next to poor people houses. They did that. And something of this nature happened, well, it is indeed still presently happening in this one Kasi that I know of. It's more like, it's like, you know, a bit of a Soweto. Like, it's not poor, but it's poorer than Ballet, than North Riding. You get my point. Yeah. The call center agents stuck with MTN live there because it's near, instead of them actually getting an apartment in Northcliffe, North Riding, etc. That's what's good. They went and built this one town called Cosmo City. And it was indeed targeted at low-income people or low to middle-income people. Right next door to some pretty wealthy folk. Okay, very well. I'm getting to a point over here. They moved me to Cosmo City. Yet another thing, Defila, that I've just been gawking at on some... My mother wanted me close enough to her to be able to just, you know, drop off groceries or whatever. Yeah, and yet far enough, or rather, and yet impoverished enough, living in squalor and destitution enough for me to feel really lowly now, like something that's no longer a part of this family. I personally come from a middle to upper middle class family. And you must understand just the blow to my ego and the blow to my socio-economic comforts of history that it was for me to be moved to Cosmo City while my mother lived in this luxury. While my family and everybody that I know across both my extended family and my immediate were living in opulence. My older sister was living in Santon at the time. And for me to be the only person out here in this family groveling around in Cosmo City, I was some kind of raw about that. I was some kind of raw about that. I would never have chosen that neighborhood myself. That's why I drove right by the entry into Cosmo City instead of just kind of park there and get an apartment. That's why I went all the way up to Four Ways. That's why I went all the way up to Lone Hill. That's why I went all the way up there to the north, because I was the upmarket girl, also on the come up, so I was just gonna keep on going from strength to strength. And then you go and you grab a woman that's lived in an upmarket apartment in the northern suburbs of Johannesburg, and you just plonk them in Cosmo City. Now that you've gotten that context, let's carry on. You plonk them in Cosmo City, okay? And Karabo was like, what in the world is going on over here? Here it is that black people, when they get money, when they get big now, they're grown up, they're no longer little children, they move out of Dikasi to the suburbs. And that's exactly what happened with my mother herself. She moved out of Claudi, Soweto, and into the burbs. Had a friend that used to live in Pimville, Soweto, and then she moved to the burbs. Okay? Yeah, because that's what black people do when they feel like they're upscaling. When they feel like they're upgrading, they make like Beyonce singing to Jay-Z, partner, let me upgrade ya. And their idea of an upgrade is the burbs, okay? They leave Soweto, their parents and their grandparents, and they move to the burbs. Unless you're Reedy Klabi, in which case you will live in DK Phase 3. But largely they move to the burbs, and the reason why they do that is because they have it in their mindset to a certain extent that is an upgrade. Okay, cool. So when you are dwelling in that mindset, because that's the ecosystem that you were raised in, and then your whole family just kind of downgrades you a notch, it's like, wow, okay, this is not very different. 1 minute. This is not very different from the Kasi that I grew up in, Adi, Soweto. But like, we did get out of there like what, a good like over a decade ago, and it is indeed considered an upgrade for us to have moved from Soweto to the burbs. And I got used to the lifestyle of the burbs, the quietness, Hopiziko Soweto, y'all know that, all that jazz. And then you go and you take a person that has spent more than half her life living in the suburbs. We moved out of Soweto when I was not even like 10 yet. I wasn't even 10. I was under the age of 10. So I lived most of my life in the burbs. So basically 2 decades by then. I'd only ever known basically gentrified living. Yeah. Gentrified living, that's how it is that I grew up. And then this woman puts me back in the Kasi. Okay. Puts me back in the Kasi. Is it problematic to be back in the Kasi? No, I'm actually making a point. If you love your Soweto, do you? I don't mind Soweto. I used to like partying there, but I would definitely never live there again. Not in South Africa. Do you want to know why? Because ghettos are abandoned by governments. It's unfortunate. And even if the government is black, it will still abandon the ghetto. So just for industrial purposes, just for infrastructural purposes, just for ease of comfort and just to be able to live with resources at my disposal very easily, I prefer the burbs because they're a lot more convenient. Our government does not cater to the Kasis the way that it does to the burbs. It's that basic. Do you know that they uprooted? Come on. Somebody have a conversation with me if you wanna. Like, let's just do that. Hey, they uprooted robots. Go Old Bodge. Somebody explain to me why that's even a thing. Old Bodge. Those of you that don't know what that is, it's this like hard knock, busy as heck artery. It is a jugular vein, the way it's so important. In Soweto, a road, a long one that basically pieces all of Soweto together. It is the artery, the main artery that feeds Soweto. Yeah, it's called Old Potchefstroom Road. They uprooted robots on Old Botch in certain parts and put roundabouts there. So they did not have to deal with maintaining these robots so very much. It's better if you just paint a yield sign over here and put a roundabout over there. And these people are just going to have to do a 4-way stop instead of it be a robot. And seeing as it's like the jugular vein of Soweto, you can imagine the traffic during the week, on weekends, at night, during the day, doesn't matter. It's just super busy, mind you. One of the biggest, largest, most prolific hospitals in South Africa is on Old Botch called Baragwanath. And despite that being a thing, they still insisted on uprooting certain robots on that road so they won't have to maintain them. That was our government's decision. So basically it just means medical responders going all the way to Protea, taking some people to Bara can't. on time. So they die en route or they get dealt with by paramedics instead of actual doctors for much longer than is absolutely necessary because, I mean, an ambulance, if at all it is stuck, it is stuck, it is stuck. Our taxis are always driving in yellow lanes, meaning that if ambulances are driving in the yellow lane, the taxi's like in front of them and so they're going to be slowed down. So basically, black lives don't really matter in this country. Black lives don't matter in South Africa to a point where you will grab the jugular vein of Soweto, one of the biggest ghettos in this country, if not the biggest. That's what's good. Yeah, if you're gonna go on right ahead and uproot robots over there, you might as well just kill black people that need to go to the only public hospital on that stretch of road, because everywhere else it's a private joint like Lesedi Clinic or whatever. So if you don't have medical aid, which most citizens of Soweto just don't, Bara's your only choice. They out here like proper uprooting robots on the road where ambulances gotta drive. South Africa mo mates on my LinkedIn. I don't like this nation, did I make that clear? Anyway, whatever, I was born here, so it's a bit unfortunate that I've got a little bit of an itchy buttock sitting on it. I get out to this place. If it is, I get done, mara, before I get done, squealing pipes of demonic attack while your country's just falling apart at the seams like that. Okay, very well, let's move on. That was just something, a bit of a digression that I did over there to help you understand what happens in black neighborhoods. Don't nobody care. Don't nobody care, not even black people. So your government was like, okay, well, since they don't care about the charter, we are going to uproot the robot because really every single 2 weeks we have to go there because somebody have an accident. Somebody went and robbed a copper cable. Somebody, I don't care, they have to get to work fine. Let them wake up 2 hours early, man. Remove 20 robots on old parts and just give them roundabouts so they will always stop. I dare those got to go and steal stop sign. They must go and steal a yield sign. Go and I dare them right now. Yeah, so they went and they chock-a-blocked Old Botch even further. I have an aunt that lives right in the middle of this whole debacle, and it takes her 10,000 years to exit her little neighborhood. So like whatever do you okay? Mzansi Afrika suit. It's ang nyokwele batlang zamayang. Ha ke sana taba le lona. Libodile. Mara anyway, despite that being a thing, that's where I'm feeling. So that's why I don't want to live in the Kasi, because I am observant enough, or was observant enough even before coming to Christ, to discover that it is not in my best interest to live in this black-only neighborhood that is joyous, I guess. We can relate with each other, gumnandi, and nobody's gonna give me grief when I want to have a loud wedding, or a loud party, or just celebrate with my girls braaiing. Until 3 a.m. on a neighbor that's gonna be like, Maponisa, please, Moroka police station, come, hey, when you go to the burbs, you gotta just deal with stuff like that. People are out here calling the popo on you because it's loud. Like, couldn't you just knock on my door? Anyway, whatever. Yeah. But you know, there are benefits. What are the benefits? Infrastructure, robots that keep getting maintained. And when the power cut crisis became prolific in this country, the first people to pretty much get lights out for days on end, hours on end, including days on end, were the ghettos. It was black people. They came for us first. I had a domestic worker, we had a domestic worker that lived Goval and the Gassi's there. And there was a time when they had no power for like 2 whole months. I was like, whoa, it's unfortunate. Hey, we've paid electricity, we paid it. They just don't have time. They don't want to fix it. Because it's the Gassi, and all of our complaints as black people don't matter. And I was like, okay, yeah, it made me feel sad to listen to her stories, because she was coming here to work every single Saturday where there's always electricity, going back to a house where they gotta charge their cell phones using a neighbor's car. That's what's good. Warm food, they have to warm it for the day, they have to cook just enough for the day, can't put stuff in refrigerators, so they bought TVs for nothing, bought fridges for nothing, but yeah, all that jazz. Yeah, that's what's going on in this like strange country. So because that's what's happening, South Africa is now called the most unequal country in the world, and the government feels like that's not got anything to do with them. Afrika suit. Well, I mean, really, when a child is rotten, I'm doing edits over there. The first thing you should just go and look at really is the parents. And the South African parent set are the government. I guess Your ANC done made you rotten, done made you classist, like you are black people, strangely all defeatist against other black people because your government was the first one to do it. The South African black government was the first ones to not give a rat's behind about black people. So black folk are now out here just doing their daddy's bidding. Like what? Like father like son, like father like daughter, like mama like son, like mama like daughter. Your mama being a lady pandemonium, so of course you gonna hate Israel. Know what I'm saying? Anyway, whatever. That's what you about South Africa. So look bola look, I'm just like I said, nye grand. Kodwa before kuqedwa ngalo grand look, I'm gonna finish the story sam ngoba nginazo eziningi lezi story and niyozilalela ever. You're gonna listen. Lo mamela my life. Why? Because ke tribulation e jwanong and had no choice. Jaka haleja lucky star. Mamelang ne. I don't want to live in the widow, not because I'm a snob, but because it's just not comfortable there. Okay, it's not comfortable. It's just not. Even if you were to get solar panels, you are just going to be dealing with a chock-a-block. Yeah, go old botch. I guess bye. Lanzo udula go deep lufu botlhoko. Ana ntho e seng botlhoko ko Soweto. Wa nkutla. At least only go deep lufu chup like unokwacha. You quickly just get on the highway. Mara laba ba se protea clan shem nyanswel. Kyalutlela bongwana. Ninja ngwana. Hey, that's why Soweto ile monate so mara ho botlhoko. Unless o shapa ka 2 series ha o tlo tseba ho tswa mo Soweto tle. Have you seen strata se leza go Dobsonville sele? Yeah. I know grandma lifing. Keshapo. Wait again get grand. To this day there are still no street lights to illuminate you little one of the lifing. When a railway track, eka go tumpang kolo ya gago cause ha bona re dintshang mo. Mara ha hona mabona. Tshwantse ke lo bona jwang. When you drive, got the blasting lights. Kaka, what do you call those things? You know, my bright. When you're driving, my bright. The oncoming car's gonna be like beep beep, and basically like flash you and got you whisper on the street, and that's just gonna keep happening because there's always gonna be oncoming traffic coming this way, traffic going that way. So you can't drive got the brights. If you can't drive, so I guess you must just take me straight the car accident. It is what it is. I was just driving there like Miss Daisy, and I felt a feeling of foreboding just wash over me, and I couldn't even switch on a light to see what was going on. So I just kind of went through it, hoping to survive. And now look at me, Miss Daisy. I'm in heaven. I have to account to Jesus as to how I entered here. Lord, it's because I was driving on Dobsonville Road, and I could not switch on my lights. That's South Africa. Okay. The black government ayisbayi iskeleme sabantu abamnyama, and so suffer isizwe simnyama, suffer. And so isizwe simnyama makes a decision to like remain defeatist and just kind of bash each other in, club one another on the head. Do you understand what I'm saying, you guys? Yeah, they just club each other because they're being clubbed by the government. So I guess as guys, as apartheid now, the Uncle Toms of the apartheid regime are your presidents because they're out here building suburbia, but they could not care less about Ninabantu Amnyama to a point of literally making it harder to get to hospital when you've been stabbed 10 times by making sure your ambulances are stuck behind taxis using the yellow lane on a road that has had robots uprooted. That's your South Africa, that's your Africa, so you're dancing. You're South Africa, and I don't like South Africa, not in this country. I like it, but I don't. I feel like I want to be a patriot, but it's rough to be a patriot because really, how you gonna be patriotic for a country that's so defeatist against own people? Does not care about a single person. So why must I care if no one else cares? Why am I the only one in the room here given a responsibility to care? I can't care by myself. It's too much of a burden. So I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna make like Tyler and go give people water. Make them lose their breath. Give them and go walk around in America until eventually Babylon gets bombed. Yeah, yes in. Save.